Hey guys, just wanted to give you all a chance to get an update on the eggs that you started in class the other day. You can see they're still here in the incubator right here in our kitchen. It's at 99.5 degrees. It's holding right around 99.7. Every day we've been taking the lid off, every day or two we've been taking the lid off, spraying the eggs with water to keep them moist and keep the humidity right inside of the incubator. But we wanted to go ahead and take the lid off. We're going to candle a couple so you can see how they're developing. We candled them at day 5, and unfortunately it looked like a lot of the eggs we put in the incubator might not have been as fresh as they should have been. So some of them were not developing, but we did have about 10 eggs that are coming along. So we'll show you them. And then we started some brand new fresh eggs that same day. So you'll be able to see some that are right around 12 days. Let me see. Yeah, some that are 13 days, and then there'll be some that are at 7 days. So we'll be able to show you both of those. So just open the incubator. And I left some of the other ones that weren't developing in the incubator at first just to see if they caught up or something, but
none of them did.
They didn't. So we'll just show you a couple of these. So I'll start with some of the ones that you guys put in here. So this has an egg with Nailani's name on it. As we turn it on, you can kind of see there's spidery blood vessels, and you can see that dark lump in the middle is a little duckling developing, and you can even see him moving just a little bit from the light. I don't know how well you can see it in the video.
You can see it pretty good. And there's nothing dark or yucky looking. Sometimes you'll get one that's like black.
Here's one. It's got Naomi's name on it. So you can see those blood vessels. And there's that dark spot in the center. Right there is where that little duckling is developing. And you can see him moving around.
Wiggling around.
That's him kind of reacting to the bright light. He doesn't like it. So you can see that, and you can kind of get a view of the size of them there. See that?
Big.
We'll do maybe one more. This one says G Rose Emerald. Oh yeah, there you go. You can see those veins real well, and see that duckling in there moving around.
He does not.
You can almost see his beak.
Yes, that is so cool.
That's his little head right there. Isn't that fun?
So cool.
Then I'll show you guys. So here's a couple that we
added some when we had a really bad hatch rate, probably because I didn't collect the eggs in an organized fashion, and some of them were probably too old and just weren't good. So we added some extra ones in.
Here's another one that you guys did. This is Isabel's egg, and you can see it's got really good development. Lots of blood vessels. You can see the little duckling in there.
You can see its air pocket too.
Yep, big air pocket down there. There it is, moving. Let me see if I can find one.
But anyway, so we added some new ones in at day 5, some fresh eggs. So we've got kind of 2 sets in here. Some that are, how many days? 16 days along now?
13.
13 days along, and some that are, what's the second?
Just 7 days along. So here's one that's only 7 days old, and you can see it's got blood vessels. Hopefully you can see that on the video. You can see little strings of red inside of the yolk. Can you see that?
Yeah, it's coming through pretty good.
But you could tell the difference between that and the ones that are fully developed. And then I'll show you a couple that aren't developed at all. So see that? That's what it looks like if it's not fertilized. It's not developing. It looks just like
an
egg that you'd get at the grocery store. No blood vessels in there, no movement, just a yellow yolk, normal sized air pocket. Let's see if I can find another one that's partially developed. Yep, so here's another 7-day-old egg. So you can see
that red.
Kind of like a spider web of red veins.
Yep.
Well, that's our egg update. We'll get the incubator back on here so that they can keep developing, and hopefully they'll hatch. The first one should hatch on the 15th of March. So we'll see. It's right around the corner. Hey guys, we wanted to give you a quick update on our seedlings and where we start our seeds for the garden, because that's what you're going to be talking about in class today. So first, I just kind of wanted to show you our setup. It's nothing special. This is just our garage. We've got these tables in our garage where we have all of our seed trays, and I'll talk you through some of the elements of our seed starting kit. So first is, this is what's called a seed mat. It's like a rubber mat, and it has electric wires that run through it. They connect to, if I can find it, a thermostat right here. So you can see our thermostat is set to heat. They're plugged into this, and it's got a small probe that goes into the soil. So if you look right here, this is a teeny tiny thermometer that goes down in the soil and measures the soil temperature. And if the soil temperature gets too cold, it turns on this heat mat, because the seeds will germinate best when the soil is at 75 degrees. And you don't need that once they're growing like this. So we actually have this side turned off. But when those seeds are trying to get started, they want to be at 75 degrees. Other thing we've got, obviously we've got our seed. These are called plug trays. They're made up of a couple of components. So first you've got a solid bottom tray that holds water. Water won't get out. Then you've got these plug cells or plug trays. There's 72 trays, and these have holes in the bottom so that as you water these plants, that water can leak down into the bottom if it gets overfilled, or you can even lift it up, pour water in there, and they'll soak it up from the bottom just like the roots are supposed to work. So that's what we plant a lot of our seeds into. You can get smaller plug trays, or you can use plastic cups or anything else. And then another important thing that we have, the most important thing for growing good, healthy seeds, is light. So you need to replicate sunlight, and really being near a window is not enough. They need light as close to them as possible.
And also the longer hours that the light at a window would not give.
That's a great point. Yeah, especially at this time of year, there's not enough light from the sun in a day to get these seeds started as quickly as we'd like them to get started. So what we use an automatic timer back here that our lights get plugged into, and this turns on our lights at 6 in the morning and turns them off at 10 o'clock at night. So that gives them 16 hours of light, which is a lot more light. I think right now, there's about 10 or 11 hours of sunlight on a given day. So that's helpful. The lights we use are just fluorescent lights, but what we do, you can kind of see the two different colors of light. There's like an orange light and a blue light. This is called a warm light, and this is called a cool light. Doesn't really have anything to do with temperature. It has to do with the color of the light. And by having one warm bulb and one cool bulb, that creates the full spectrum of different light wavelengths that your plants need to get started. So this is kind of our setup. We've got a bunch of flowers here. There's snapdragons, stalk, celosia, amaranth, hyacinth bean, all kinds of different flowers. Some more celosia. And we've got some vegetables over here. You can see this is all broccoli that's growing back here that's getting started. We've got some little kale plants that are just starting to poke up. This is cauliflower actually right here, and then the backside is broccoli. And then I'll show you this. So see these clear plastic lids with all this moisture and condensation on the inside of them? When your seedlings are still sprouting, when they haven't sprouted yet like these have, but they're still seeds, you want to keep a high level of humidity there. So using something to cover your soil works really great. Walmart and Lowe's sell these little kits, if I can get them out, that come with your plug tray, your clear plastic cover, and your solid bottom cover. I think they're $6. And you can fill that with soil and plant 72 different seeds into these. So they're a great little kit if you're just getting started. Don't pay attention to our dirty garage. So we use these clear covers until a little more than 50% of the seeds have hatched. So you can see that almost all of the seeds in this tray have actually sprouted and are starting to move up towards the light. So we've got tomatoes and basil and thyme. So in the back, I've got thyme and lemon balm and rosemary, and they haven't sprouted yet. The herbs have not sprouted yet, so they might just take a little bit longer. I'd have to check my seed packet and see how long it takes for those herbs to sprout. There's one little rosemary plant back there. So I'm gonna just leave that cover on them for a little bit longer. Since the other plants aren't poking up against it yet, we'll just give them that extra humidity. Here's another one. We've got our broccoli in the back, and then I can't tell, maybe some peppers up front. I'd have to read a little bit closer. Red cabbage. Can't see. Red cabbage looks like something. I'll read it later. Sweet peppers, jalapenos, cayenne peppers that are just starting to sprout. So we'll give that a little bit more time, let those seeds emerge, and then we'll be good. And you can actually see how I've got two lights right here so that the light is really evenly over the tray, and I've got them really low. I've got them right just above the tallest plants so that there's not much space, because that's the most important thing. They want that light, and if you have the light too far away, see how I've got this light way up high, and these plants have gotten really long and kind of flimsy, and they don't seem like a nice strong plant like some of these shorter ones look like kind of more stable. That's because they're not having to chase the light. So I'm just bad, and I need to lower this light and add another one so they don't have to hunt for it.
And that's called leggy. When your plant gets stretched out like that, you'll hear people talk about their seedlings being leggy, and that's what they're talking about. They're all stretched out and not as strong.
And it can make them a little bit weak. But one thing that we've learned is it's better to just do it. Don't not do it just because you don't have the perfect setup. So, God has created this miracle of life in these seeds, and if you put them in the soil and you keep them wet, they're going to sprout. And we've had really good success, and they do okay. So, so we recommend that you just go ahead and give it a shot, even if you don't have all this. But this is a good setup for relatively low cost that you can give a shot. And we'll take you out into the garden as well and show you some of the stuff that we started in the fall that stayed in the garden all winter and now is actually starting to produce a little bit. All right, so we took you out into the garden, and it's a little dark out here, but we'll do our best. So we wanted to start by showing you our garlic, because I know you guys all started some garlic as well. So we started, I think, about 80 garlic bulbs last fall. Started them in October, and you can see how big they've gotten. You can actually see a little bit too. Our goats have come in and nibbled them a little bit, but they're still okay, and they're growing well.
And you can see the rabbit poop. We talked about how the rabbits give great poop fertilizer, and we've been trying to remember to come out and put it on our seeds out here and our starts. So that's what that looks like.
That's what the garlic looks like. A couple other things that you'll see. So we've got strawberry plants that we're also fertilizing with the rabbit poop, and we'll show you in a minute. Here's one. So you can see our strawberry plants are actually just starting to have their first flowers that'll turn into strawberries. And last fall, these were big plants, and we trimmed them way down. We cut them down to where just a couple inches were showing, and now they're coming back to life and starting to sprout. These are blueberry bushes. You can see all these blossoms will turn into blueberries at some point. Same thing, the goats got in here a few times and ate all these blueberry bushes, but they're resilient and they're bouncing back. Some better than others, but pretty exciting. You can see here's another strawberry blossom, and you can kind of see in the center of that strawberry blossom, kind of tell that it's going to be a strawberry. Now I'll take you over and show you some of the fall flowers that we planted. I can not step on. So Ellen, I don't know, you want to show them the anemones?
Yes, these are bulbs. They are anemone. They're beautiful. They're really neat because they close up at night, but then they'll open wide when the sun is up in the middle of the day. They're white with like a center. I'll bring in some to class tomorrow to show you. But they do well through the winter, so I plant them in the fall, and then they will have stronger plants and earlier blooms in the spring. Since it's February and it's already bloomed, that's pretty early.
Yep.
But that's one way that you can succession plant, is to have some that you sow in the fall and then another group that you sow in the spring. This is chocolate Queen Anne's lace that I let reseed from last year, so it overwintered through the fall and winter, and then now it's beginning to grow. But then I will also start another succession that I plant out in the spring, so I'll have two different groups at different growing paces and timelines.
You can see this bed over here too is just full of flowers, different kinds of flowers that Ellen started last fall, and they're gonna be the first flowers to come up this spring. So that's the best way to get like early flowers. It's really hard to have flowers available in March or April because there just hasn't been enough heat and enough sunlight yet. So if you find flowers that are listed, and they call them hardy annuals. So hardy annuals means that they're a little bit frost tolerant. They can survive some of those colder temperatures. It's best to plant those about 6 to 8 weeks prior to your first frost in the fall. They'll grow up about this big or maybe a little bit smaller, and then in the wintertime they'll kind of die back a little bit, and then as soon as the ground starts to warm up in the spring, they'll come back really fast because they've got their roots established already, and then you'll get some early flowers. And we've kind of got a smattering. We got one good bed, and then you can see a couple other spots where we've got
carrots,
ones and twos. So we'll see more of that, and I think it looks like we've got some peas popping up too. So we'll go take a look at those.
Peas over here, and then also another flower called Lisianthus that we overwintered.
Oh,
but there's a pea. So I will probably cover this up if I know a hard frost is coming. If it's just a light frost, I won't worry. This is a Lisianthus. This one I wouldn't cover up. It's withstood the whole winter. But the ones that I just planted out, here we go, John. Ones that I just planted out that haven't been overwintering and haven't, built up the strength to have a hard frost, I would probably come out and...
What's this one, Ellen?
It's a pea.
Oh, fun.
I would come out and cover with those row covers that we made.
Anyway, just wanted to give you a quick update for the garden, and now we'll go show you our pregnant goats, since I think your next cycle is going to be about goat kidding. So we'll show you kind of what they look like right now as they're a couple weeks out from kidding. Okay, we're over here on the goat side of the yard just to kind of show you our pregnant does. So this is Holly. She's one of our mini alpines, and she's pregnant. You can actually see her stomach moving around a little bit right now, but you can see how wide she is. And if you watch close, you might see her little kids wiggle in there.
Yep, there they go.
You can sometimes see a little bit of movement, but she definitely seems to be pregnant. She's got a much wider stomach. Normally she's pretty straight and lean, and she's just starting to widen out. She's due on 12 March, so about 2 weeks out from now. And the other thing that you can see, if you can get her from behind, as she's now about 2 weeks out, her udder is just starting to fill with milk. Not swollen yet, not hard, but just starting to be a little bit more milky than it was. This is Cow Spot. She's our mini Nubian. Even though her ears aren't droopy, she is a mini Nubian. Her mother was a Nubian, her father was a Nigerian dwarf, so she's an F1. And same thing, you can see how wide she's starting to get. She hasn't bagged up yet. She's not due for about another month. She's due on April 8th. So she's got a little bit more time to develop. This is her first time being pregnant. So we're excited to see how she does as a mom, and we'll bring her kids in once they come. And we'll show you Shadow. She's our, I would say, most pregnant goat. She's the same pregnant as everybody else, but she acts a little bit more pregnant, and she's just ginormous. We'll see if I can get her to hop up. You can see her udder is starting to fill up, and as she comes out, she's just about as wide as she is long, almost shaped like a peanut.
And this is the goat we brought in for you guys to milk earlier in the year.
That's
so
right.
You'll
Yeah.
remember.
Good point.
Remember Shadow.
Yep, Shadow is you guys' buddy. And if you pay close attention on this side, you might be able to see some kids moving around inside there. Hard to tell the difference between her breathing and her kids moving unless you can feel it. But just wanted to see how big she's getting. And you guys can guess how many babies you think she's going to have. She's had 2 babies twice for us, and last year she had 3. So we'll see what she does.
All right.
That's about it. Just wanted to give you guys an update on the farm and a preview of things to come. So see you in class.